Hello, my name is Zach Goet. I am at Wright Pat Air Force Base as a civilian contracting specialist, and I have the topic leading change scenario. And the situation I want to talk about happened about 8 months ago. And the situation deals with the fact that in that contracting unit that I was assigned to, I had to create the section's first past performance metrics that were going to be used to evaluate small business contractors for warehousing materials. Now, I was assigned to work with a GS Tech 13 or a senior contracting officer. He presented to me a plan of what he wanted and what they thought they needed. After working with him for some time, the section chief brought us all together and put us in an awkward position because the section chief and the GS13 Tech senior contracting officer had different notions of what the past performance needed to cover due to the FAR requirements and things of that nature. So the way I resolved that issue of leading change and loyalty was that I incorporated both of their needs into it and made it function that way. Where one wanted the FAR section 15 cited and the other one wanted section 16 cited, I was able to implement both of those in the same paragraph, utilizing different reasonings for those. And then in the same circumstance, we had an issue with the engineers wanting it completely different. And so I'm now stuck between the engineers, who are acting PMs, and my section chief and contracting officer, who want it a specific way to meet the needs that contracting has. And the way that I resolved that was I stayed true to my section chief, and the points that he wanted presented, I stuck with him and gave him my full support. There were some contracting specialists and officers who took the side of the engineers, but I believe that it was my duty to be loyal to my section chief, my supervisor. The aspects of leadership that were missing in this situation, I think, were communication and the clarity of purpose and a lack of planning. I think if all three of those had been addressed, then first off, the section chief and the contracting officer would not have been at odds with each other on what needed to be where and what needed to be cited and what needed to be explained. And if the section chief and the lead engineer had spoken beforehand and explained really the nitty-gritty of what the metrics were to be used for and utilizing to resolve the issues to resolve, I think we wouldn't have been stuck in this mess where we had half the unit agreeing with one side and the other half agreeing with the other. So I think that if there was that communication and a clarity of purpose, that would have covered that. Now, lack of planning, I think, happened because I don't think the section chief, contracting officer, and lead engineer really planned on what they wanted done. They knew the end goal. They knew that they wanted past performance metrics, and they knew that they wanted those to be completed as soon as possible, and that they needed to be covering certain criteria, but they had no idea, or no plan at least, on how to get to those and how to get to that metric. So I was left really holding the bag, or paper in this case, on how to get that metric utilized and created. So that would be my experience of the leading change scenario that was requested for this particular thread.